Hello. Don't really have too much to say right now, but I kind of want to break my recent video dry spell. Just being quite depressed for the past week or so, and today in particular is a very difficult day. Obviously I expect most of us have been dealing with this Wisconsin shooting incident that happened last night. Last night I was riding my bike around darkened neighborhoods and sitting under overpasses until 3:30 a.m. and as I was doing that, there was a big protest happening in some city in Wisconsin. I'm not American, I've never been to Wisconsin. As a response to some guy who tried to break up a fight getting shot 7 times in the back, permanently paralyzed from the waist down, I guess, apparently. And then a bunch of militiamen came in and decided that by any means necessary they need to protect the banks, the targets, the properties, and some kid shot 2 people and killed them and crippled another guy. So going through a lot of stuff, and this is not really helping my mental state, but I just wanted to make a video, talk about whatever. It's pretty fucked up, just being on Twitter and seeing how many people are just seeing how prevalent this attitude is that protecting property is important and in some way justifies people going out with the intention of killing people if they threaten property. It's just completely mind fucking boggling to me. How can you be so indoctrinated by the ruling class and so subservient to their interests that you completely lose track of basic ethical principles and basic values about what is important in life. We shouldn't need to construct arguments about how a human life is more important than a piece of inanimate property. But there are people out there who are, toting around massive guns, prepared to kill people at the threat of burning down, your local shitty-ass fucking bank branch that costs nothing. These types of buildings are so cheaply constructed that they really cost nothing to build. You can, rebuild them in a week. And they also store nothing of value. They're just a site for, doing financial transactions. I mean, it's there's no question in my mind that a human life is more valuable than a piece of property. I'm not really sure what the pretense is for what moral framework people who believe otherwise are operating under. It's just really mind-boggling to me. I understand protecting, I can understand protecting one's own property. If it is a store owner standing on their property with a gun and threatening to shoot people, that is in some way defensible to me. That makes sense to me. But people coming from, there's really no point even treating it it's serious. These kinds of people, these fucking fat white assholes who are going around lumbering about with overpriced, overpowered weaponry, ostensibly out to protect property that has no aesthetic value, it has no cultural value, they have no personal attachment to it. It's obviously just a pretense for them, wanting to like further the Civil War in one way or another. The other thing that is really depressing was like all that video footage from Seattle over the weekend. Like, it's really, I can't imagine being an American. Like, I don't even live there, but just through the globalization of American politics, it's really hard to get away from. And it seems like the Civil War is happening. Like, it's all coming to an end right now, and I really feel like there's good reason to be preparing one's life for a future outside of the capitalist system. Like, a lot of my thinking has been, and a lot of most people's thinking is framed around, getting a job in order to sustain themselves and like reproduce themselves over the course of their lifetime. Like, that is what we're all thinking about, but like that doesn't really seem to be a high priority anymore. Like, it seems like there are other things that we need to be concerned about, and like living a normie life is not one of them. Like, I mean the enemy is out there right now preparing for like the Long March, their own version of the Long March, where they like give up their normie life and commit themselves to the Civil War. Like, they are not, I mean, they understand that like the normie life that they're living right now, where they have jobs and like live as like normal members of society, is coming to an end, and sooner or later they're going to be like committing themselves to a course of action that will preclude their participation in society. Like, either they'll be become criminals, or like they'll die in the service of whatever cause they're fighting. And it's just kind of, it's frightening. It's like really depressing. It's a bit unfortunate that like there seems to be more on the enemy's side, on the opposition side, than there are on the side that we want to be rooting for. More people who are prepared for that sort of thing, but also like I personally am just very disconnected from anybody else, and I don't know what the hell is actually happening amongst leftism. I would like to think that they're intelligent enough to be organizing themselves in such a way that I would not know about it. But I still like don't really see much about them. I mean, I guess we see a lot about BLM and Antifa protests, but those protesters are not fucking organized. So this has been a pretty rambly video, but just one thing that I want to say, like, I feel really inspired after the events of today to do more reading into tactics, specifically tactics. Like, strategy is one thing, the strategy that we're working towards is, like overthrowing the state and, like establishing a dictatorship of the proletariat. But the tactics are another question, and I think they're becoming more and more relevant. Like, I remember when I was first becoming like a communist guy, reading like Tikkun and shit, like they talked a lot about tactics, but it didn't seem all that relevant because the social context, even when I was reading that shit, there were like mass protests here in Montreal, but the social context was not such that it made a lot of sense to be talking about like military style, like guerrilla warfare kind of tactics. And like when I was like studying Maoism as well, like several years ago, the same thing was true. Like, there was a lot of debate about the concept of the protracted People's War versus the insurrection as like the like strategy for a revolutionary vanguard party, and like the social context seemed to favor insurrection because protracted People's War, I mean the tactics employed in such a thing are like very different, and they require like a again, different social context, but the social context has changed, and now it seems like these kinds of tactics are very relevant. So I would like to do some more reading about that and try to incorporate that into the types of content that I am producing on this channel. Can try to do that. I also want to talk more about technology, because I think that is a way to get more people, more subscribers, because there are more nerds on the internet. Anyway, that's all I'll say for now. I hope you're listening to the podcast. I got episode 3 coming out on Monday. Episodes are coming out on Monday, so I'll try to post more videos, and I'll try to post better videos than this one. Until then.